Best example, you could say he's like the greatest generation. He's a sense of, he's self-effacing, unbelievable integrity, calm, completely fulfill everything I could believe of with a judge.
I probably first knew of him by his reputation. He was a judge. And then early in my career, I had several cases in front of him. So I was able to see firsthand what I'd heard, that he was incredibly fair, that he was very dignified in the way he handled himself, that he was wise in the decisions that he made.
You know, my dad was probably one of the warmest individuals that I've ever encountered. I would describe him as even-tempered, fair, friendly, loved to laugh, great sense of humor, and tremendous affection for his family, for my mom and for me.
He told us one time that when he had just got out of the Marine Corps and they got here and he started law school and they had no money. They were really worried about that, and she got an offer for a job, and she went down to talk to a large company. And the gentleman in there gave her the job and then commented at a point, he said, you know, I heard that in Orfield, and I thought that you were Jewish, and if you were Jewish, I wouldn't have given you this job. At which point she said, are you telling me that if I were Jewish, you wouldn't give me this job? And he said, that's right. And she said, I would not work in this place if that's the way you are. And she walked out, and she was, on the way home, she was crying, saying that Frank, we really need the money, and Frank will be upset. And she came home and told Frank about that. And Frank hugged her and said, that's exactly what I'm proud of you for doing. And that sort of tells me the two of them and the sort of people that they were.
He gave to me a letter which included he and Alice Mary's contribution for the bar building fund, and also was very kind about the way in which our bar leadership was operating the campaign, and also that my leadership made us all very proud. And that.
How did your relationship dynamic change once you became a judge yourself?
We now had, stories to tell, behind the curtain kind of stories. I'd say, Dad, let me tell you what happened in court today. Things that other people wouldn't know about, but I knew Dad could appreciate. And he'd tell me stories. And he had a lot of sage advice for me early in my career.
He seemed extremely fair to both sides. And at the end of the day, as lawyers, that's what we want. We want a judge who will look carefully at what we present to them and then make the best decision they can.
I remember that when he retired, a lot of people from all over the practice had a big party for him. And there were people from loose forward and defense people, there were plaintiffs people. It was sort of a universal sort of acceptance of this, of a judge that they wished that they could have in every judge that they had representing them.
My constant memory of my father is of that smile. And I just want him to be remembered as a good man who loved his family and absolutely loved both the practice of law and his time on the bench.
Outside of the courtroom, he had a great deal of humor and joy that you didn't see as much in the courtroom because it wouldn't have been appropriate. But he really lived life to the fullest. He had a wonderful marriage with Alice Mary, and he was happy who he was and where he was.
How does it feel to know that he is now being honored by the legal community in this way?
I'm surprised that it hasn't happened long before this. I mean, I thought that when he died, I thought it would be a very surprising thing. It wasn't immediately thought about and announced in some position. So this has taken quite a while for people to really appreciate that. And now that you're getting old, as I am, I was delighted to hear it happen. Absolutely delighted, but because he deserves so much appreciation.
I'm very glad. He definitely deserves it. He's someone we should always remember, and the traits that I described he had are those we all need to emulate.
It really almost defies description to have Dad honored in this way. He's well deserved of the role and of this rite of passage, as it were. He would be honored. He would be so humble. It'd be hard for him to come up with words. This was not something in which Dad felt comfortable, situations like this. So I know that he's smiling right now about it. He's so proud to be honored in this way. But he'd be the first to tell you that he doesn't deserve it, and I'd be the first to tell him, Dad, you do deserve it. You richly deserve this.